Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we are talking about Univolt. As it reads, can be ridden and applies electric damage to players' attacks while mounted. The one thing that we can compare this to is a beacon. Now, this one here is a bit on the beefier side because I ended up getting lucky with this and got a alpha with really good IVs and with the passives that I was looking for on this. Now, when it comes to something like this, I'd probably run, again, different passives on it. I'd probably drop Stronghold Strategist for either Burly Body or Muscle Head if we wanted to do some more damage with it, possibly. And again, Runner, not the most optimized. I bred it from some other things. We would have done Swift instead. But this will work for the time being and for what we're looking for. This Univolt, it being an alpha, the health will be a bit higher. I did end up getting a regular one as well, but I didn't level it up all the way. Kind of see the comparison, but we've shown the comparisons between alphas and non-alphas as far as their health pool goes, and the health pool is about, after fully maxing out, like 1,000 point difference, a little less than that, like 800 to 1,000 point difference with the health. Again, with us comparing this to a beacon is what we are comparing it to, because they are both at the same partner skill. Only difference is one is a flying mount, one is a riding mount. So advantages with beacon is that it is a flying mount, so you wouldn't necessarily have to bring a flyer with you, and you could quadruple stack your Gobfins for most fights, or if you're trying to run it as a damage type, then we'd be running Sparkets behind it. Specifically, the one thing that I personally had the biggest problem with the beacon is even after we maxed out its defense, full stars and everything, it's only at 790 defense. It is really weak when it comes to going against bigger pals. It does not have that much defense. The health pool is not too bad at 6K, a little bit over 6K, and its damage isn't bad either. But in comparison, the advantages that the Univolt has is that it definitely has a higher defense rating, and both of these are 4-star and with 30 plus 30 to the attack, defense, and health. One disadvantage would be the health pool on it. It is about a 400 point difference or more, a little bit more than that, as far as the health difference. Damage wise, they're not too far off from either one of them, but the beacon clearly has an advantage for damage. Again, not by that much, but because this one is at an 85 and this one is at a 96, so this is about the top end damage that you'd be getting out of it at 1135. The beacon, however, is at 1198 and it's only at an 85, so it's missing about 15 points in its IVs, and you might be able to get a little bit better out of that. But you'd really have to run some decent speed perks on the beacon in order to get it to operate efficiently enough to be able to use that, or using a rocket launcher to kind of bounce them around and everything so that you're not taking hits that much. But I definitely would not take this against a tower boss. The reason being is because you can't stagger tower bosses, and with that you're going to be taking a good bit of damage regardless of how much you will dodge a lot of stuff, regardless of the amount of stuff that you dodge. Again, speed passives on that would probably be better doing a Runner and Swift with, say, Burly Body, just to get that bit more out of it, and you might be good after that. But even with that, that's still hard to deal with when it's under 800. But regardless, we were talking about the Univolt, and we were going to do a comparison with this while running Gobfins, and we're going to run some Sparkets behind it as well to see what kind of damage that we could get out of it as a plus. One thing that we are also doing with the Univolt is we are running water attacks to create our double damage pool for the elemental damage stacking. One thing that I was also pretty surprised about is that the Univolt learned Lightning Strike passively, because I started out with the breeding of this Verdash and a Ragnahawk, and neither one of them have that. So the Univolt learns that passively, which is pretty impressive. Lightning Strike is a pretty strong skill when it comes down to it, and it's a very good AoE skill at that. But nonetheless, we will be taking Gobfins out first to kind of see what we could do here, and we'll do a 3-stack. That's the only other disadvantage that I would say compared to beacon, is because beacon you wouldn't need a flyer, but since we need a flyer, we're down 30% on our attack power, because the Gobfins give passively 20 with their partner skill, and then each one of them having Vanguard is an extra 10, so they're calculated separately, but it's 30% percent basically on each one of them that we're missing out on. Another thing that we did is we took another mind wipe, and this time we put 400 into weight, 1,000 into health, and then we put everything, well, we put another 5 points into stamina to get us up to 150, and then we dropped the rest of it into attack power. So I will be eating a burger to increase my stuff. I will not be putting on my second pendant as to just keep the ability glasses on, because I'm going to forget to switch them in and out. We also will be eating a burger and or a rush or hot dog, depending on the situation and what it calls for. But yes, after eating the burger, we are sitting at 448 attack power. We will be using a rocket launcher to juggle some of the ones that we can, and it is good damage regardless. And we will be probably mixing in and out the AR and the pump action shotgun. We'll just see how we feel it out. Probably do mostly AR or mostly rocket launcher just to keep them juggled, to keep them from being attacked. But we do want to see what kind of damage it can take. Now at 1,000 defense, that's not necessarily the greatest either, but it is good. It's better defense than you would see out of most, and with a rush or hot dog behind it, then I think it's at about 1,200 if I'm not mistaken, which we can check that real quick. We did a rush or at 1212, and this is only at an 82 defense. So if we were to get that up to 100, it would be better, of course. But the health pool being kind of lowish, but not too low, 5,812, still not bad. But since we are not using him specifically for damage, but damage stacking, and we want to keep him surviving, then we will be using a rush or hot dog to specifically have that. So first one that we're going to take him up against is Blazemut. Now we're going to attack with water attacks first. And also there's something that I wanted to note for this being a lightning horse. You would think it'd be a lot faster, but it is not that quick. And this is an alpha version, so it's not bad with speed, but I mean, it's just not one of your faster options. As you can see there, pretty quick. I'll say he's not fast, but he's pretty quick. Can't get him through the doors though, and being a bigger one. And he's only got a single jump, no double jump from him. Blazemut defeated very quickly, no problem, no questions to be had there. Now we'll see what kind of damage that we do against Stallion. So we will probably be primarily using the rocket launcher for this, but we are going to start out with the AR, and if we start losing a lot of health, then we will switch over to the rocket launcher to start the volley, just to give a bit of a fighting chance here. We'll start out with Bubble Blast and then hit them also with Aqua Burst. Not able to dodge that well, I tell you what. We will whip that out. I am losing a significant amount of health here. That almost killed me. There it is. We barely survived, unfortunately. The U-Volt didn't take too much damage there after we started using the rocket launcher. Lost about, I'd say about 3K. Not too bad. But this is also running a Rush or Hot Dog behind it to give it a little bit more defense. So I am personally curious to see what kind of damage output that we can get from the U-Volt. As of right now, with a 4 stack of Sparkets, we're at 1892. So pretty decent damage. If we feed them a Rush or Hot Dog, we're now at 2,270. Not too bad. We're not hitting the 3K range, but if we can get over 2K, then we're in pretty good standings. So this time, we're gonna switch this up and give myself a Rush or Hot Dog. Gonna help with my defense, and we're gonna take him against Phalaris. That's a good little standpoint. The U-Volt as well is a pretty early pal. I think you can find them up and around in this area. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, you can find them up and around this area near where Beacon is. And I think you can find them over here as low as level 11. We'll take a peek. See, it might be 17. Can't remember right offhand. Yeah, there's a level 15, 17, 15. So as low as about 15. And you can see the size comparison too, with the alpha versus the normal ones. Kind of actually happy that I got an alpha out of this. It's pretty cool. Got me a big old lightning horsey. All right, so let's see what he do against Phalaris. I just want to get Phalaris wet and then see what kind of damage we can get out of him. Or I could just, you know, yeah, with him being wet, he takes a whole lot more damage. Oof. Fireball's always such a big hit. So yeah, that wasn't too bad of a fight. He lost about half health, so that was a little rough. But like we had said before, we fed him a burger, so he was not getting his usual, not getting the defensive perk. At that point, he was getting attack buff. So the Sparkets do their job, but realistically, even though this is decent damage, we probably do not want to run him with the Sparkets, considering that we were trying to do more damage and we're not doing really all lightning skills on him right now. And what we'll do is instead do a Gobfin stack and probably keep with the Rush or Hot Dog theme. And this time we're going to stack our other attack pendant on here as well, as we have done there. And this time we will go against Shadowbeak. And we got our fun double music again. We are able to outrun quite a bit of these attacks. I am pleasantly surprised with that. Gotta get the timing down right on it. There you go. So in conclusion, is the U-Volt worth it? I would say yes, because when it comes to applied damage pals for electricity, you have two options: U-Volt, Beacon. U-Volt outperforms the Beacon when it comes to defense, as we have shown specifically with that. Now, you could probably fix the Beacon by running Burly Body on it and also feeding it a Rush or Hot Dog. That might save it a bit. You could probably get it pretty close to roundabout where the U-Volt is, but at the same time, why do that when you can just do that with the U-Volt? Like, drop Stronghold Strategist, add Burly Body, and drop Runner on this in particular one, and put Swift on it, and you already got a better animal. Disadvantages is that it is a grounded POW, so it can't fly. That's basically its only disadvantage when it comes to a comparison to Beacon. But the reason why I'm saying yes for U-Volt over the Beacon is strictly over the defensive properties. And someone had made a really good point in the last video that I had posted, not the Anubis one, but it was actually the Anubis one, that building these types of pals now might save you from having to do it later on, because you don't know what pals that they're going to come out with, maybe new bosses, new tower bosses, so on and so forth, and you really don't know what they're going to be like slinging at you. So it might be a really strong water pal that might be going against you, and this would be something that would be optimized for going against that, especially with it having the better defense and everything. As far as its work capabilities, I mean, after we got it all the way up to a 4-star, it's only at a lumbering 2 and electric 3. I mean, there's other pals that are clearly going to be better for either one of these, to be honest. But with an applied damage pal of electric, I'd say that U-Volt is better than the Beacon, solely based off of the lack of defense that the Beacon has. Because we had, I think the other one that we had was perfect 100s all the way through, and it still wasn't even that high in defense. But yeah, both of their defensive IVs, if I'm not mistaken, I think are the same. Yeah, both of their defensive and their health IVs are the same. Now, one thing that I am kind of a little skeptical on is its health, because since this is an alpha, like say that we take the alpha off of it, we might be hitting only at like 5k, maybe 5.2, maybe a little less than that. I'd say probably about 5k health after everything's maxed out and everything, which that could play a bit of a part in as far as its decision to be this chosen pal. But at the same time, like I said before, we could immediately fix this and have it to be a better pal than Beacon, basis solely on dropping Stronghold Strategist and Runner and putting Swift and Burly Body on it instead. So yeah, the way that I'll put this is that the U-Volt is not necessary at this in particular time, but you don't know what the future can hold for this game. They are talking about adding new stuff all the time, and they're getting to the point to where they're about to be dropping this summer release with 4 new pals and new island, so we'll have to see what that comes out with. But this is the first of many when it comes to it, and even after the game's full release, you never know what kind of DLC stuff that they're going to add to that as well. So it's not a bad thing necessarily to have in your back pocket. And I guess if you really wanted to talk about going against certain pals, only really strong water type that I can think of right offhand is Yormintide. And he is a pretty strong pal when it comes down to it, but having an electric pal that you can have applied damage with will assist you in defeating him. So yes, if you guys enjoy my content, drop a sub. If you guys enjoyed this video, drop a like. And write down in the comments down below what your thoughts are on U-Volt versus the Beacon as far as applied damage pals. Other than that, keep your willy washed, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.